I'm Steven Leake. Today, I'm going to read from my poetry collection, Light from the Pines. This is available on Amazon. This is my first serious collection. I wrote this really over the pandemic and published it in 2022. And I'm going to do a re-release. It's dedicated to my girlfriend Allison, my ex-girlfriend Allison. We kept each other sane during the pandemic. And that was quite a relationship. And it felt like the world was coming to an end. She was somebody who was a rock for me, and vice versa. She doesn't talk to me anymore. But that's a common thing with people in my life. Lots of people that I've had really close, deep, and intimate connections with end up never speaking to me again. I'm not really sure why. I'm sure it's something I'm doing. Maybe it's my autistic traits or bipolar or something. I don't know. It's not really something I can help, even though I'm working on it. My sister got me this personal library stamp for my birthday. She knows me very well. She just had a baby, Daphne, in March 12th of this year, and she got me a stamp for my personal library. I love customizable gadgets and like cheap little thoughtful gifts. This is awesome. I've had so much fun with it. If you have any kind of collection of books, these are like, it's like $20 to get this customized. I'm going to put this. I have two stamps. One is my business, Monarch Literary, for my company books, and then my personal library, my Steven Leake. So this is my personal copy of Light Through the Pines that I have written lyrics to my music out of. It gets my stamp, and I'm selling this on eBay. And I'll sign it right here on video with a Skillcraft U.S. government pen made by the blind in North Carolina. I love these things. My dad turned me on to this. Totally cool shit. I sell them on my website just as a fun little thing, but you can get them cheaper at like Office Depot, the ones that carry them. Alright, let's get down to it. Light Through the Pines. For Allison, whose last name will go unmentioned. Thanks, Dub. A special thanks to my family for their unwavering support. Deborah Hobbs, Clint Alexander, Evelyn Weeks, teachers of mine. I love teachers. Both my parents were public school teachers, and there's none better. They do a hard job for not much money, and we owe them our gratitude. I always thought that we should use the European or Scandinavian model and pay teachers as the same way we pay doctors and lawyers, and make it competitive. Make it competitive, and also with police officers. If we require a 4-year degree and give them extensive training, if we poured money into it, we could fix the policing problem. If we, as a society, we valued it. Once we get enough of this, of shitty police, we will do something. I'm telling you, the answer is to demand a 4-year degree, pay them $100 grand, give them extensive training, and treat them with respect. And these reforms are necessary and they could do a lot of good. And I'm not the only person who thinks that way. Alright, enough preaching. Shoplifting at Walmart. I don't think this world is real, so I drift through the motions, waiting for my real life to begin. Still, I must be next to a woman in natural light. We have the same nightmare that society unwinds. Uneasiness, gray clouds, still water. I always saw art as a manifestation of you. You poked through every encounter, chased by corporate goons in a degraded mixed reality, where I became president and surfed the net bullying tweens in reality show chat rooms. The casual violence of media paints you as commodity. When I can barely remember a time before chaos, I chase you through halcyon fields into the world we deserved. I pound coffee as a writer and poet and whatnot, and I've gotten onto a kick with Black Rifle Coffee Company. They're veteran-owned, unapologetically American. It's just good stuff. I will always promote the products I actually use every day and like, and the companies I admire. Capitalism can be a great adventure. Like, there's a lot of art and creativity goes into entrepreneurship and creating businesses and running businesses. And they do a lot of good for the world. It's the only way to create value and raise people out of poverty. And I'm all for veterans coming home and starting businesses. Tragic Kingdom. A tragic end spun at birth this dichotomy of adaptation, a subclause of the gift of life, underwritten by time and place. These seraphim of man's creation, frail girls in unimpressive nightgowns, turned slim-fast deltas, veterans of 20 years, dragging drunk husbands up to bed, hanging laundry by night, exhumed by Oprah each day, after the soporifics pushed by Cosmo in a secret cigarette. Where are these so savagely taken, bound in plain sight by a billion-dollar racket? This veil, pursuit of wealth and perfection, draped over young eyes, sequestered as years of tears pass with no kiss, forgotten as the lull of disappointment feeds Novocaine to a sheltered soul, a psychologically profiled execution, though no witness can attest to the pains of an innocence never lost. Flogged by anonymity and accepted fate, awaiting resurrection until her Savior breathes life into that soul, and finally, the kiss, a love buzz never seceding, only reciprocated by whiskey-stained sex, in that sanctuary cleaned by 5, devoting a life of housework to a common sociopath. But God, I love her so. I use this next poem as lyrics to several of my songs. Songs don't require all that much words. Like a page-long poem is way too much for just one song. Not that I'm some genius at it, but I've been working at it pretty hard. The Awakening. We haven't showered in days. Ashtrays and beer cans fill up the living room. The wake of our binge on the lamb. Jonesing in this agonizing lust for vivacity. Repressed by irony of consequence, which with each revolution of the ceiling fan, another moment of ecstasy lost to all but imagination and dreams. hell-bent to squander what little remains of a catatonic despondency, once again immersed, wallowing in that bordello, a comfortably numb daydream of what should have been. Our retribution, nullified on the whim of nature, a callous gavel hog-tying the future, condemned to linger in the sun-bleached slums with the memory of those who've carried on. Even in our seedy beds, that bastard hope still nags, steadily dripping, calling us to arms each night. The midnight pang in our stomachs sparks our revolt, to tip the cold equilibrium into a flailing frenzy of movement and noise, flipping the table. Not too many people realize people on disability, especially people like disabled vets and old people that depend on Social Security, is barely enough to physically get by. Most of the time it's not even $1,000 a month, and if you get that money, you get health care. You get really good health care, but you have to, it kind of forces you into these income limits and this forced poverty that is super unnatural and fucked up. And whenever you have high inflation and skyrocketing costs of living, it always pinches the elderly and the disabled first, that cannot legally make but so much money. We should be doing it in a way that doesn't punish people for their disabilities they can't control. There should be no income limits. Period. It's just ridiculous. RX Queen. Oh, sweet nothing. Her legs against mine. Skinny dipping in cool Caribbean water. Standing still as the breakers fall upon us. As we, the sole players on this carousel, grasp each other as if the tide will run off with our souls. Under a smiling olive moon, the blessing, our moment of reverie and repose. How the icy waters, shivering our skin, rise and fall like the waves. We bathe in salty water set free, as rising undulations obscure that glimmering oracle for a moment of weightless bliss, then back again in its sight. Our baptism. Emigres of the last remnant of hope, deserters of an army of martial law, we escape. Cross the border to our Mexican sanctuary, our shrine to the last sacrament. This profane divinity, the last bastion, our lust of a life hidden. We take our communion of Oxycontin and absinthe and pray to our angels of mercy, two begotten of race of exile, sharing in their teary eyes of a joy known to no other. Lying upon our naked bed, shivering bodies kept warm by the heat of blood and flesh, we sleep to tepid pulsations through once atrophic veins. Then rose petals, our morning glory, brings answered prayers of a new day. A bare mattress, a milk crate nightstand, still the glass doors left open as our sheets dance, drying in the ocean's bellows. The glory, we alone enrapture ourselves in the soft morning glow of porcelain curves, gentle brush of hair. My eyes close. I support the nape of her neck as a newborn's, the small of her back, my savior. Morning showers of a desperate hotel, lukewarm hints of rebirth each morning, brings a heavy smile. annihilating the pangs of withdrawal as my eyes open in frigid water of the sink. A gaze in the mirror, lost in my own eyes, sustenance for the day ahead, as I'm assured by the God within. Life will appear again in the night. After a mid-morning run to the pharmacia, we may return to that glimpse of virginity, only after it is sold each day for $50 and a ride back to our lotuses. That was one of my early works. It somehow made it into this collection. Some of these are older, but they're peppered in there with newer stuff. I have yet newer stuff in a collection called Truth is Power that's going to be published this year by Monarch. The Blessing Way. Dazed and weak at the sight, your flickering iris, painted against a matte black abandon, microcosm swirling through empty space, that impermeable path to freedom so dazzling, seductive. But I know, it's your eyes, they give you away. Amber, golden strains of wound copper cords, the warm connection, intoxicating touch, a current of sacred endorphins flowing, my lips to yours, searching pupils, a nexus between souls. Blown away as I caress the night with a nocturne birthing tacit mendings, a blissful repose reverberating through time, resurrecting the tears lost amid a life of pittance. She floats around me, soaked in oxygen, weightless, slight breeze, as we're locked in eternity, just inches apart, saturated in the smell of smoke and rapture. Take a swig of Coke. I never thought I'd be doing this. I was always kind of a jock and a nerd, and like an overachiever, and I did not discover art until the last semester of high school, and it was a revelation to me because I was always a bit of a hard ass about school and work and purpose and stuff like that, and I always wanted to be like a doctor and shit, and go to some like prestigious school and cure cancer and shit like that, just for like my own personal glory. And then it's a lot of fucking pressure to put on yourself, and it was kind of a sigh of relief when I was diagnosed bipolar and couldn't really serve. And so it was a license to have fun and enjoy life and explore my identity and my passions. And I took it upon myself to hole up in my apartment on my family's land and just tear ass into books and study and read and write and play music. And it's been hella fun. And I implore everybody to explore their creative side. And I have an online poetry writing course that I'm working on that will eventually be put on my website, StevenLeake.com, as soon as I can afford to pay for the subscription to the program that lets me build it. I do have kind of proprietary process that's repeatable that I think people could benefit from, because poetry is not just for like, fancy queers or what have you. That was my view of it when I was a teenager. I was like, this is ridiculous. This is like super soft, blah 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 blah. But it saved my life, and I got good at it, and it's been a blessing. It's saved me from just like it's helped me enjoy life. I've gotten a little bit of money from it from my career, my writing career. Hopefully, I'll be getting more now that I own all my own rights and whatnot, and publishing it through my own company. But it's about enjoying life and savoring it, and creating something for yourself, and making a stand in the world about what you believe. It doesn't have to. Nobody else has to understand or like it even. And when you're first starting out, you don't have to. It doesn't. You just write what you feel like. Nobody has to see it. For years, I just cranked out god awful shit. And there was a website called allpoetry.com, ALL poetry.com. It's like a public forum where people post their poetry. And I've been on that site under the username LIQ Sunshine, Liquid Sunshine, for 20 years. And that's where I've been workshopping my work and getting better for free. I mean, it's you can do it for free. I pay for it sometimes. It's only like $5 a month. And I'm talking to the guy that owns it about having like just a free lifetime membership for promoting his website on my posts and shit in my podcast, Musings of a Cigarette Smoking Man, which is also fun as hell to do. And I've been afforded the time by having a place of my own, this place that I call Sovereign Sound Studios. I've had a place to jam and rock out with my cock out and write poetry and read and have people over and have fun and talk and smoke and explore ideas. And I've been able to pursue the life I wanted. I've had a lot of freedom. I don't do anything illegal. I mean, I was a kid, not in years. And I just listen to people. I offer my friendship. I play for people. Most all of my friends are working. If they're not like on disability from the war, they're having to work shitty jobs just to get by. And supporting families, and they're probably on their like second marriage at least, and having to do all this is men who don't get any support from society whatsoever. That's who I make my music and my art for. It's not for everybody. It's for my friends and people like them. It's for people who feel alone. You know, they're jocks who want to write poetry, and they're art kids that want to join the army and all kinds of shit in between. And there's a place for everybody here, in my opinion, in my view. We can help each other get back to our fundamental founding principles and correct and get back on the course. It's not impossible. We can do it. The American people have all the power. We just have to make up our minds to act on it. Lithium. Zombie shuffle in my bathrobe to the Harlequin medicine cabinet. A grotesque Ronald McDonald chuckles in limbo, echoing to a choir of punch-drunk rates. With seismograph hands, raw electricity hums through a spinning gyroscope of gray matter. Bass drum drops of water drip from a poker-faced faucet. Slow dragging feet rip 10,000-watt newspaper with a lobotomized gaping mouth. Smoking pulp nerves feed a Novocaine soul. I've Alzheimer's curiosity of the magician's trick. Electronic, scaled diminuendo beeping as it goes down, retinas fry, bedazzled at the diabolical sun, mimicking that fateful poisoned apple that metastasizes in my stomach. My childhood treehouse is blown away as neurons fire flaming fractals, dropping dead in Fibonacci sequence. Echoes of lullabies ebb and flow to a damned clockwork sonata as dumbfounded effigies march in protest and handed a lollipop before a napalm death. Metallic hemlock, my ritual sacrifice to the status quo. That was one of my first. I talk a lot of politics, but only because it's very necessary. The times we live in are going to be studied for centuries as one of the most consequential periods of human history. And we need to be aware of that fact as we live it. It's very meta. It's kind of what postmodernism is about, without the social bullshit and the Marxism, which is just, like true intellectuals don't have any place for Marxism. That shit's a weapon created to destroy civilizations, and the people the actual smart people don't pay it any credence. Kingdom of Fear. Mom, can I borrow the car? I need to get tested. I'm gonna marry this one. This love, like a Mexican standoff, an entity of its own that sucks the marrow out of my bones. Dipping my toe into the black hole. We're locked in time at the event horizon. You wouldn't understand. It's an inside joke, or so we say. I got my 30-day chip last night. I lie. I trip every weekend. We strap on our gas masks and huff Freon, watching, frozen in horror, as a million rabid granddaddy longlegs swarm out of the ceiling and stare. We see our reflection and infinite soulless eyes. We're refugees of the modern world. Our homes blown away by 3 a.m. diet pill commercials and clips from Girls Gone Wild. We set up camp in Mexico, but you can't chug with a lime in your beer. So we drive as fast as we can, 102 down the interstate. White lines blur together, hypnotic, as Freddie Mercury pierces lost octaves, and we start to smell our brains burning, scorched in our kingdom of fear. That part about huffing Freon and hallucinating was actually happened to my friend Jonathan Blackwell. He was my guitar player for my band Johnny Slacker in high school, and we jammed one night, as we did every couple times a week, and he called me when he got home, and he was like amused and kind of slightly anxious. He was telling me that like the crickets in his yard were chirping to the rhythm of The Doors Light My Fire by The Doors. And I was like, dude, you're like tripping your balls off. What's up? And it's like, we finally figured it out. His car was leaking Freon. It's like, that was like, I don't know. I have a shit ton of cool stories like that. If you're open to adventure, adventure will find you. I have several companies, but my holding company is called Monarch Holdings International Incorporated. It owns and manages all my subsidiary companies. One of my subsidiaries is a public benefit corporation called American Justice Enterprises. And it was created because a former employee of Wells Fargo that had evidence of illegal activity and predatory business practices, in which Wells Fargo intentionally and systematically foreclosed against unnecessarily and against the policy they had with the contract they had with the federal government, foreclosed on veterans with VA home loans, and it caused financial ruin and emotional distress, and a lot of people have committed suicide over it, and people have been killed for talking about it and trying to bring it out to the public's attention. And I happen to have like powerful friends from my connections with West Point and whatnot, and I've decided to do something about it because I post a lot about the free speech and the Second Amendment and veterans' rights, and I felt compelled to act on this, and I'm going to do right by my friend. And our veterans have been fucked over by this bank. We have a huge problem in this country of big business, multinational corporations, and big banks doing whatever the fuck they like, and with complete disregard to human life. And they thought they could make a quick buck, taking advantage of veterans, and and we don't have to stand for it as a society. My business, American Justice Enterprises Limited, is a GoFundMe, so we can cover our legal expenses as we bring about, collect the stories of these veterans, get their contact information, and talk with our legal partners about bringing forth a class action lawsuit against Wells Fargo to get restitution and restore these veterans financially. It's not going to undo the damage that's been done, but it can help them, and we need to step up. When we send people over to fight, they sacrifice their minds and their bodies, and it's something that affects them their entire life. And when they come home, we need to take care of them. And if everyone can help me, it can help by sharing links and going to my website, donating $1 or $2, sharing posts on social media, creating hashtag Justice for Vets, whatever you need, whatever. I can't do everything by myself, and I'm the public face of it. But I have friends who will not be named because they've been harassed and their lives have been threatened by Wells Fargo and their lawyers. So, my company, Monarch Holdings International, also has a subsidiary called Monarch Literary Limited. It's a publishing company that I initially created to publish my work and my friend's work. Robert McFarland, I'm putting out some of his stuff, and Donald Stabler from Canada is a friend of mine who I'm publishing too. And we are looking and openly soliciting manuscripts. If you're a writer and you take artistic risk and have balls and speak truth to power in a real way and not just virtue signaling bullshit, I will publish you. And give you a platform to say what you need to say. The website is monarchliterary.com, and the email to submit manuscripts is submissions@monarchliterary.com. We read 24/7. Just go ahead and send us a manuscript. I read. I do all this. I've got nothing but time to pursue my creative ventures, and this is what I live for, to read your shit. I love it. Another subsidiary of mine is an adult film company called Love Ninjas Incorporated. And so I know I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, but I know we can set an industry standard and set an example for how adult entertainment can be done. I offer 20% of net profits after expenses are recouped to my performers, plus a very good health plan with dental and vision, legal shield, legal services, and a Roth IRA retirement account with profit sharing in the form of 5% ownership in my company after 10 productions. I'm actively looking for people who want to help me with this venture. Just go to steve@monarchliterary.com if you're interested in any of my stuff. Oh yeah. You can't really have your Skillcraft pen without a moleskin notebook to put it in. I don't go anywhere without my pen and my notebook. I like the tactile feel of a physical thing instead of just putting everything in my phone. Phone's important, it's a tool of the trade, but there's something about physical paper, the smell of it, the feel of leather, it's just awesome, and it reminds me of why I do this. I created a short, kind of simple poetry writing course online where I talk about the craft and the tools. And you can get, all you need to start is a 50-cent notebook from Walmart or wherever, a pen, and I always advocate getting a good pair of headphones and a subscription to Spotify or a streaming service, and listen in music. I listen to music constantly, not just to relax and have fun, but to train my brain to on interesting lyrics and wordplay. And it's a way I condition myself to make verbal connections, and it helps me write. I listen to music and read. That's my secret. That's all I do. And so when it comes to create, I just meditate and get in a flow state, and these words just come out, and it's very easy because I've created like a process, a repeatable process, and I explain and go over this with you on my online course. Capitalism can be fun, and I wouldn't normally like self-promote so damn hard, but this is how I feed myself. And it's fun. I like doing it. It's better than washing dishes, I tell you that. If you've ever had to work a menial job, you would understand why I fucking bust ass so hard in creative endeavors, so I don't have to like stand on my feet 16 hours a day with that, There's no reason that people in the service industry should be standing that long on their feet. In France, if you go over there in their supermarkets, their cashiers are allowed to sit in office chairs. That should be a common thing here too. We shouldn't be torturing our workforce any more than they already are. Okay, back to some poetry. Knife party, working late. I woke up in a Victorian dress, corset a little too tight. In a parking lot behind the dumpster, tangerine street lights, ambient light filter, throw outlines on a chaste alley. My arm is bleeding, and there's a new tattoo. It's a Mexican dancer, red and sore. I flex my biceps, and she fattens, grinding for me. I won't be dressing in this for you, my dear. Blood soaking through lace, hemorrhaging, but it's all good. I look quite pretty for a man. My eyes radiate violation, the back of my head sensitive to the touch. I try to remember what happened last night, but she's telling me to find my car. My friend, I think, is floating in the pool after some Vicodin and vodka. A world of tragedies, sprung from boredom. My Friday night knife party, always ends with commissioned scar tissue. I'll be here next time, but not with this dress. I'll find another, something opaque. A couple more. This is called Fabergé Home Demo. Under an aphonic chameleon boot, I gaze upon your cosmopolitan cliché and sigh for my timeshare penthouse on the sticks. Exuberant amber fields, phosphorescent, despite the sun, cries with me as those setting tangerine rays bleed my holy gift of self. Lost in the din of crowded streets, individuality not safe. Fear tortures me in walls of beige. Feel, through the fog of doublespeak, will charge to the rhythm of a landslide, break this Fabergé peace. Take my hand, will flank the Inquisition, riding on aqua velvet insecurities. We plant seeds of revolt in tattoos and scars. We break the surface and gasp. Let it slide like mercury as pirates of the New Age. I have a novel that I'm editing. My editor was Aparna Kumar of Penguin Random House. She has also worked with Salman Rushdie, who wrote the Satanic Verses, and was attacked in a fatwa on his head, and attacked by a Muslim fundamentalist extremist because of his free speech. He's a legend and a free speech hero. We should all buy his books and shit. Support him when we can. I have a ebook of the first draft of Gethsemane on my website, StevenLeake.com. Gethsemane is based on my time in Charleston, South Carolina as a chef, living and working downtown with my hometown friends from York, Rock Hill, South Carolina, who moved down there and got food and beverage jobs right as Charleston was being discovered as a food and beverage destination, a world-class hospitality city. And it details our adventures and misadventures and exploits as 20-somethings in 2015 America. And it's my best work. I'm very proud of it. I'm still editing it. I'm working on it. I'm working on some structural plot issues. It's going to be good, and it's going to be out by Christmas. Molly rides on falling arrows, fat drops of lazy summer rain. Streaming vapor trails explode as they hit, quenched, leaving cigarette burns on the grass. Her footprints spread brush fire symmetry, burning in kaleidoscope rhythm. She finds herself in broken glass, carried in a shard stuck in your heel. Sharp pressure with every step. A pulsating subwoofer sends ripples through water. Her voice simply melts. The dance of hammers hitting strings. A nocturne, Chopin, plunging 7 stories to the sidewalk. The sun's reflection in a flute of champagne. Glowing purity, caught by your eye. You drink filtered sunlight in a glass, flicking ashes into the air, tumbling in the wind, burning. Such a strange descent, now floating away. I'm going to stop there for the time being, and put a bookmark here. And we'll pick it back up in another video. Check out my music. I've just started writing and recording music. I've kind of rediscovered music. I used to play when I was younger, in high school and college, but just this past, since I would say March, I've been seriously working on my music career. The only thing I have out now are demos recorded here at Sovereign Sound Studio, which is a home recording studio. And I don't have the resources yet to put out a studio album, but I plan to. And if you want to invest and help us, I do employ my friends. If you want to help me and my friends get proper equipment to record, to fund our work for the social good with American Justice Enterprises and our other endeavors, we're actively soliciting investment. My company is registered in Nevada as an S corporation, and we get 100 shareholders. So, and that's done on purpose. So we have a dedicated core group of investors who are dedicated and like-minded to libertarian principles and our founding ideals. It's not just about getting rich and making money and whatnot. We are about bettering society for the future. And my little niece is coming up to my home place here in York, South Carolina. She's in Charleston with my sister and her husband Cam, and they're coming up it'll be the first time Daphne the baby gets to see York. It's going to be special. My mom's been cleaning the place all day, and I've been a nuisance running in and out, tracking in shit. If you like my stuff, you can afford to, toss me $1 on my website. I offer my ebooks, my music, streaming. It's all free. I just ask if you can, if you think about it, buy me a coffee, whenever. I offer kind of entertainment, shit to think about. It's not life or death. But if you can and you like it and you enjoy my work, consider a donation. My work is not for everybody. Not everybody's going to like it. But, I don't do it for everybody. I do it for the other me's out there that feel deeply and are passionate about life. And maybe my experience can help you and make you feel not like you're not alone, because you're not. It just seems that way. The social media and our technology it's disconnecting us from each other. And we need to get back to small communities. We don't have to be like living in communes and be hippy dippy about it, but we can try to unplug a little bit more often and reconnect with our community and family and friends. We will all be better served by calming the fuck down and talking to each other with respect and respecting each other. Even online, where it's tempting to just throw shit because there's no consequences. But it's not a good way to conduct yourself, and it's harmful. It's harmful to the psyche to engage in that kind of shit. I'm guilty of it myself. I like to feel good. And, but I'm aware of it and I work on it, which is all anyone can ask. And thanks for hanging out with me for this almost hour. It's been really fun, and I hope we do it again. Check my stuff out at StevenLeake.com. If you want to contact me, my private phone, I guess it's not going to be private anymore, is 803-627-7533. My email is steve@monarchliterary.com. If you're a vet who's been affected by Wells Fargo fuckery, go to my website, AmericanJusticeEnterprises.com. Shoot me a text 24/7, or call me within regular business hours, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, Eastern Standard Time. And I'll get back to you as soon as I can. We're going to win. It seems overwhelming. There's a lot of negativity out there. But we can do this, and we're going to do it, and we're going to win. I'm Steven Leake. Thanks for hanging out with me today.